All right, guys, so we are digging right in to filing a 2019 tax return for a single person with no dependents. That is going to be the part one of this video with either having a W-2 or a 1099. So first you're going to click on Start a Return. You if you have any previous tax returns that you have electronic that you can bring in or import in, then you can choose this option. However, because I'm sure this probably will be your first time ever filing your own tax return, you probably wouldn't have that. So we're going to go ahead and click skip here. Alrighty, so the first question starts off with, before we begin, have you filed a 2018 return? Do you have your social security number, your birth certificate, and family health insurance coverage? And also, have you served in the military? Of course, if you have served in the military, you're going to click this button right here. But for the point of doing this, um, tutorial, we're going to skip that and go to our next. This screen is just asking you to make sure you get all of your information together so that you are prepared to file the tax return here and get answers on the reform. Alrighty, so here you will check single because you have no children, which means or no dependents, I'm sorry, which means that you would not be able to select any of the following. If you are a single person, it will be single, no children, or no dependents, sorry. All right, first you're going to go ahead and tell about yourself. And so you'll go ahead and type in your information. Of course, I'm only doing this for the sake of the video. I will not be putting in my correct information here. Alrighty, then you will put in, I'm sorry, your date of birth. And your occupation. So wherever you work, are you a receptionist, mechanic? Alrighty, then you will put in your address. Phone number. This is important to make sure that you do, just in case the IRS needs to get in contact with you. Alright, and if you wanted to put your email address in here, you could, but I usually skip this, and you don't really need to put in the information unless you so choose to. And we're going to go ahead and hit next. Alrighty, so if you are in a state that requires you to file state returns, you would go ahead and put your state information in here. For the sake of this particular tutorial, we are not doing a state return. Maybe I'll make that a part 3. Who knows? So we're going to go ahead and hit next. It's good to save it, so it's going to ask you to save. I'm going to go ahead and just save that. It will ask you to just verify the social security number and date of birth. Make sure that those are accurate. It will kick your return back if the social does not match what they have in the system for your name. Okay. If you live in a state with no income tax, then you would have to answer this question, and it states, in your federal return, we ask for state and local income tax information. If you lived and worked in your state for all of 2019, you probably won't enter anything on these screens. Okay, so if you worked all year long. It's suggesting that you're probably going to skip that. So you want to go with what the screen says unless it is incorrect. Okay. Again, this system really does walk you straight through. You just have to make sure that you read and that you're putting in the proper information. If you should have any questions, there's always this Learn More button, which will give you the information necessary to answer the question for that particular section. Okay, so tell us if any of these applied to you in 2019. I was a full-time student. I can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's return. I'm blind. I'm disabled. I am a dual status alien. I want to designate $3 to the president election campaign. I'm preparing this return for Tamika, who's passed away. Okay, so if any of these things apply to you, you would definitely check. Again, if you have any questions, you can always click on Learn More, and it will give you the details for how to answer that particular question. Okay, and we're going to move on to the next for the sake of this return. All right, so help us personalize your H&R Block experience. I'm not going to go through filling this out. This is not necessary for your tax return, so I'm going to hit no thanks. Alrighty, again, remember that this is a return for part one with a single person with no dependents. So since you don't have any dependents, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to hit finished. Now will bring us over to the income part. So if you have any wages from your job, any investment income, any retirement accounts or Social Security that you receive, this is where you would be entering it. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are only doing wages from your job, okay? Which will be on either a W-2 form or a 1099, depending on whether you are an employee or contract worker. Alrighty, and so for wages from a job is what we're going to be selecting, which again, income from your W-2 is going to be going in this section. Alrighty, so here, if you have a PDF of your W-2, say for instance, your employer electronically sent them over or you want to import, you may do so, or you can even take a picture with your phone, or you can enter manually. We'll be entering manually for this tutorial just to bring it to the simplest form, just in case you don't have it electronically. Okie doke. Alrighty, so first you're going to enter your employer identification number. This is on your tax return, usually at the top. And it usually starts with a 2-digit number and has a dash, okay? Then you're going to put in your employer's number, name. And if it's a long name, you can start on this line and finish on this line, okay? Then you will put in the street address. Alrighty, and now you are done with that section. Okay, you have put in your EIN number, you have put in the name of your employer, just as it says here, and you have also put in your the address of the employer. Okay, and that's who you work for. And we're going to hit next. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. Let me back up one screen because I did miss something very important here. You need to make sure that your name on your W-2 matches what you have in the system. If you have got if you change your name is not correct on your W-2, for some odd reason your employer made a mistake and spelled your name wrong, make sure you hit name doesn't match W-2. You would check this box, okay? All right, and moving on. Alrighty, so on your W-2 form, the numbers on your W-2 form coincide with the numbers on this screen. So the same way that you see them on your W-2 form is the same way you're going to enter it here. So your wages would be in box 1. Okay, so do note that if there is any change, the system does round up or down as necessary. You will not have any decimals in these numbers. You can, however, go ahead and put them in, and the system will automatically round them for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in $18,652, and I'm just going to put in 52 cents, and you'll notice that the system will round it. Okay, up to 18,653. Okie dokie. Generally, these numbers are the same, but not all the time. So make sure that you're paying attention and you're putting in the proper information here. I am just making up numbers here. Okay. Then you're going to go down. If you have anything in box 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, make sure you put the numbers, the amounts in here that correspond with what's on your tax return. Okay. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going with this simple, most basic information, the things that people generally have on their tax, on their W-2. Okay. Alrighty, if you have anything in boxes 12A through 12H, you would put them here. Okay. You will notice that you have letters along the side. And on your W-2 form, you will see those letters. Okay, you may not necessarily see the description, but you will see the letters for sure. And if you had letter B in one of your boxes in numbers 12A through 12H, then you will put the corresponding letter and description in there. Okay, and also the amount. For the sake of this return, we're going to enter no entry. Okay. If you have something in box 13, make sure that you put it in there, such as retirement plan, third-party sick pay. Make sure that it's put in box 13. Box 14, you will put the corresponding code and amount if there's anything in box 14. Okay, sometimes box 14 can have several codes in it, which is why they give you multiple options here to put the information in. And if you are confused, you can always again hit the learn more, and it will give you more of a description of what the system is looking for. All right, if you are filing state returns, you will have this may have something in box 15 through 20. For this tutorial, we're not going to go into that. However, you can put in the corresponding information into the corresponding spaces here from your W-2. Alrighty, and we're going to go ahead and go to the next. All right. Do you have any special situations that apply, such as this is a non-standard W-2 or this is a corrected W-2? Note that on your W-2, if it is a non-standard or corrected W-2, there is a box that will be checked that says this is a corrected W-2 or this is a non-standard W-2. You do not have to guess this information. If you get confused, however, and need a little bit more of an explanation, again, we're going to go ahead and click the more button, and as you can see, it says non-standard. Check this box if this W-2 is handwritten, looks like it was prepared on a typewriter, or appears to have been altered in any way. Alrighty, and then we're going to go ahead and go to the next screen, as we're not going to check anything in those boxes. Alrighty, and so as you can see, I have completely finished putting in the W-2. If you have more than one W-2, you will continue to go forward. You will hit enter manually and go ahead and put in the information over again. As you can see over into the left-hand column right here, you will see that this now is $348 that this person, I put my name, Tamika, owes to the IRS. If you were owed something, it would not be red, it would be green, and it would not be in parentheses. Okay, so as of right now, I owe $348. I have a regular W 2 and I only have one. Again, if you are wanting or have more than one W 2, you will go ahead and hit here and put in your next W 2 information and go from there. But since we do not, I'm going to go ahead and hit back. And as you can see, it ended up putting a line there. It's okay if it stays, but you can also hit delete. And as you can see, my number over here does not change at all. Alrighty, and so because I don't own a home as this single person, I do not have anything other than my simple W 2, and I am a single person with no dependents. That is all I have to input. Now, what I'm going to do is hit finished. Alrighty. So now, um, we don't own a business, no real estate or anything of that nature. There's no business activity. I'm going to hit next. I have no investments. I don't have any stocks that I have sold, employee stocks, nothing. This is just a simple single with no dependent tax return. Do you have any capital loss carryover? No, I do not. I'm going to go ahead and go to my next. Choose any that apply retirement income, Social Security. Remember, for this sake, we are not even going there. However, if you have retirement plan income, annuity, or disability, or Social Security income, you will go ahead and check these boxes, and it will lead you into answering additional questions. Okay. And please comment below if you have questions or need to see me go in depth in any one of these sections that I do not cover in this tutorial, and I will do my best to do maybe a short video for you and or answer any questions that you may have. I don't have any property that I sold or exchanged. I'm hitting next. Again, we are still in the income section. You can see that by looking at the top. It is in blue. I do not have any 1099 miscellaneous income, none of this stuff. I don't have anything. Did you buy or sell or send receive virtual currency? No. And they're talking about Bitcoin and so forth. Okay. Foreign accounts. I don't have any foreign accounts. So I'm going to click no and hit next. I don't have any of these things that they're asking me for. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. Remember, we are just doing this simple, single, no dependent tax return tutorial. All right, now it's going to start trying to do some adjustments. I did not pay into any traditional IRA or anything of that nature. I'm going to just speed through this section to get us to our credits and or endpoints. Okay. You do still have to read some of these things to make sure, like for instance, had I any charitable donations. A lot of people who pay tithes to their church will click this and go ahead into putting in their information for their tithes that they may have given and or donated any clothing and that sort of thing. And you can go into that, but again, this is simple tax return. If I went through everything, guys, it'll take me way longer. So just going through the more pertinent information for what typical individuals have. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty, so in the sales tax, I didn't make any. It says enter the sales tax you paid on major purchases in 2019. You must have receipts. So if you have any receipts of any major purchases, and major purchases meaning, and they tell you here, include cars, truck, motorcycles, recreational things, does not include jewelry, electronics, or furniture. Okay, if you pay any large sales tax. For for your items. Okay. And this does not include things that you, if you had a business, it has nothing to do with that. Okay. Because remember, this is a single return. All right. And it's suggesting that I claim standard sales tax deduction. That is what I'm going to do and leave it where it is. Um, Here it's saying standard sales tax deduction. It just has my state and the information that I need there. I have nothing to enter, so I'm going to hit next. For your local tax rate, enter only what your county or town charges above your state's tax rate. Generally, here you're not going to put anything. Okay, going on to your next. Alrighty, and it says that the state and local tax is going to be 289, and they're basing that off of my information that I put in on my W-2. Okay. Um, Tax preparation expenses. If you bought software, which generally you probably won't, you can get a free file through the H&R Block, as long as I believe the income has to be under 50,000. If I'm not mistaken, please check because it's been a while since I looked at that. Alrighty, so I'm not going to put anything here in these boxes. I'm moving on to my next. And again, other deductions, I don't have any. I'm moving on to the next. Standard deductions is recommended. I'm moving quickly through these screens because none of these things apply to us. Remember, we are doing a single tax return with no dependents. Alrighty. Alrighty, let's look at miscellaneous credits, adoption expenses, energy efficient home improvements, plug-in electronics, foreign taxes paid, mortgage credits, health insurance for displaced workers. None of this applies to us, so we are going to hit next. Alrighty, we don't have a qualifying child because we're not doing one with dependents. Alrighty, so going on to some of the credits, let's see if we qualify for any of these. Adoption credit, American Opportunity Lifetime Learning Credit. Like if you were in school and so forth, earned income credit you would not get because you don't have any dependents to be able to qualify for that. And it tells you here the amount is calculated based on your earned income, which includes wages, self-employment, your adjusted gross income, um, your filings, the number of qualifying children, and so forth. And it tells you no earned income credit is allowed if your earned income or adjusted gross income exceeds $50,162. However, if it's something that you want to just explore, you can always go to, and you can go through the different sections. And I suggest that you go through all of the credits because you never know. So adoption expenses, no, you didn't have any. Um, you don't have at least a qualifying child, so we're going to just go through the credits just to make sure that you don't qualify for anything, because sometimes you can miss some credits and you don't realize that, hey, you know what, I qualify for that. Disability, child tax credit, foreign tax credit. I was going to click on all of them, but it really doesn't make any sense. Um, Plug-in electric vehicle, like if you bought one of the plug-in electric vehicles, you can also get a credit for that, and so forth. Alrighty, moving on. Let me back up a little bit. When it comes down to this credit at the bottom, which is child and dependent care credit, you don't necessarily have to have a dependent um, that is living with you to claim this credit. If you are paying for child care, maybe you and your ex is split up and you're paying for a child care, even though dependent does not stay with you, there is still a possibility for you to be able to claim this credit. Okay? Just a heads up. Alrighty, so now we're going to get into health insurance coverage. You will need to answer these questions and make sure you answer them carefully because there is a possibility you could be charged a penalty for not having health insurance. It was still going on in 2019. So, alrighty. So everyone in your household had health insurance. None of you had health insurance, or it's partial. Make sure you answer it. I'm going to put everyone in the household had insurance. You will just tell whether it was health insurance provided through your employer, COBRA, or Medicaid, or other health insurance. Okay. We'll go ahead and put in health insurance through an employer and hit next. And that's all they needed to know. Alrighty, tell us about additional taxes and penalties. No wages paid to household employee or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and move to this pretty swiftly. Almost to the end, people. This is a little bit longer than I expected it to be because I just didn't want to miss anything and leave you guys confused. I'm going to go ahead and head to, let me back up here, sorry. All right, so I'm finished. You can now enter your driver's license if you so choose to. You do not have to enter your driver's license. It's just for security purposes. All righty. It also tells you to check additional documents. It says I have 2 verification issues at the end. And it's going to tell you what these verification issues are. Let's go to it. Alrighty. Well, because I made these numbers up, it's telling me that the $250 of Social Security doesn't really make sense. So sometimes if you put in the wrong numbers, the system will catch it, but not all the time. Alrighty. And the $91 in Medicare or Medicaid. I'm sorry. Medicare does not coincide with what they believe should be the proper numbers. So because I know I made these numbers up, I'm going to just leave it as is. However, if you have verification issues and or other issues, as you can see here with the red circle, you want to make sure you resolve them before you file the return. Because oftentimes if you don't, it will be kicked back. Alrighty, so it tells me at the end that I owe $348. It gives me my adjusted gross income, my taxable income, and I'm going to hit next now. And it tells me it's preparing my federal and state return. After this, you pretty much follow the prompts. I'm going to skip the state return, and that's it. That is it. It is that simple. A lot of the things that I went through, if you only have a W-2, you don't need to go any further. That is it. Okay. Of course, you do need to go through the different screens to just make sure you don't have anything that you can get a credit for or an adjustment for. But if you know that you don't own any property, you don't have a business, you don't have any dependents, you don't have an electric car or things of that nature, you haven't paid for any dependent care expenses such as child care or elder care services or anything of that nature, it's just as simple as putting in the W-2, putting in your personal information, and clicking through. So I hope this helped you guys. Sorry the video was a little bit longer than I expected. Again, put your comments below if you have any particular questions, and I will be more than happy to assist you the best way I can. Again, I want to save you guys money, 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 money in your pocket. So do your tax return yourself. Have a good one.